Hi, has your narcissist partner ever flirted with your home health care nurse right in front of you? Mine has. Stay tuned in this episode, part 26A, when you'll hear a weird story about a bizarre confrontation with my husband Jim that happened right in front of my health care nurse. It precipitated me finally leaving him the very next day. Please stay tuned for part 26A. I'm Sarah Wilder, and this is Surviving the Man I Married. So Nurse Rita arrived with her 85-pound dog. Her name's Sasha, and we headed to my comfy, cozy, fully outfitted basement to begin the marathon drip as Nurse Rita punctured and taped and outfitted my left arm for the long day ahead. While I took out my app, I went to DoorDash and looked at our lunch options for the day. Usually I would spend the time quietly sleeping, taking in some weed, and munching on stuff while Rita did a lot of charting and work on her laptop. It was just a very peaceful, quiet time, except for the last hour, hour and a half of my infusions would be when Jim would get home from work. He got home every day around 1:15, and my infusions were done around 2:45 to 3 p.m., depending on how they went. Well, today, Rita asked the question she had asked every month of 2022. When Jim gets home from work, she said, "I wonder who we'll see today." And Rita had met Jim's other personalities. She's met probably 3 versions of him by this point. This was month 7 of us being together. So as her big dog sat on the gigantic 8-foot beanbag chair, and my little Rosie, the miniature wiener dog who's a year old, barked wanting to get up on the chair, I had to make her pillow stairs so she could get up on it. It was so big. And then Dolly, the tiny little 5-pound toothless Pomeranian, sat on my lap. And there we were at our little outpost in the basement. And it was almost 1:15 and almost time for Jim to come home. Okay, so I had established some boundaries and maybe rules for infusion days. I didn't have to do it before 2022. All of 2021, Jim never bothered me. He would shout hello down the basement stairs and let me know he was home. And that was that, except for in 2022, starting in January, my nurse was assigned to me permanently. And she happened to be a very cute, very attractive young woman, very professional. I got along great with her, and she was a lot of fun. However, Jim started being intrusive because he was flirting with her. He was, found her attractive and he wanted all the attention. So I had to develop defensive, deflective strategies to get him out of our space to restore calm and quiet for that last hour when I felt the sickest. So when 13-year-old Jim, his personality would show up, he was annoying and chattery. And I just had to basically remind him in a very parental tone, "Jim, you remember our agreement that you wouldn't intrude on my infusions until the nurse was gone. I want you to honor that. Please go back upstairs. There's leftovers in the fridge. I'll be done in about an hour and a half." It was just a mild tactic I would deploy when Jim's personality, where he was a hyper little 13-year-old, look at me, it didn't always work. However, when our inner sanctum in the basement was intruded upon by Cowboy Jim, this was his malevolent personality, and it was visually and in every sense I can name. That personality of the cowboy was easily detected by people, not just myself, many people, including my nurse, including the police detective that would talk with him months down the road. I'd have to be really more direct. I'd have to literally just be confrontational, tell him to get out, do not come back, and perhaps name a consequence. But the cowboy's personality was odious. From him, and I've already mentioned in other uh, episodes what he looked like and felt like and how he moved, but he also exuded from every pore his hatred of women, his ability to just emit nasty, evil, toxic vibes, detected by people who didn't live with him every day, day in and out like I did. And Rita was one of these people. And not only that, Jim, like I mentioned before, was quite a large person. Rita maybe weighed 95 pounds. Her German short haired dog she brought along, 85 pounds. And that dog was scared of Jim. My dogs liked him. He was nice to them, to my knowledge. But what we encountered that day was confrontational cowboy Jim. So as Rita and I and The three dogs hung out in the basement doing our thing. It was that time of day, and we heard the back door open, followed by short, heavy footsteps across the kitchen floor. We could also hear above our heads that Jim was walking towards the main level stairs, towards the front door, and that's where he usually sets down his merce. This is like, it's shaped like a doctor bag. It's green and black canvas, very masculine looking, but it's where Jim keeps all his essentials, including a loaded pew pew. Always, he had in there a 9mm. So we listened and tried to detect any hints that might tip us off as to which personality was in the house at that moment. And then we heard it. We heard the heavy, slow footsteps descending the basement stairs, and we heard the voice, the kind of high pitched, awkward voice, followed by the inappropriately loud speaking the cowboy is prone to do. And so before his feet even got to the living room in the basement, we knew exactly who we were dealing with that day. This has been part 26A of Surviving the Man I Married. I'm Sarah Wilder. Please stay tuned and join me for part 26B when I discuss the confrontation that ensued shortly after Jim entering the basement. Thank you for being here.